Welcome to Pagan Crafting. Today we're going to make a goddess corn doll with a little bit of nature crafting with corn husks. This is little Kara's take on the corn husk doll. This is for your altar or for the Yule Tree. So join me today for some pagan crafting. So for supplies we're going to need today is two types of wire. I chose a copper wire to accent off of it, but you can choose whichever color you'd like. Cheap galvanized wire, nothing fancy so you don't waste your nice copper wire. Wire clippers, some curls, some cotton balls, some craft glue, just clear craft glue, not white, not wood glue or anything, some corn husks, scissors, and hot glue, as well as some twine. Now next what I'm going to do here is I'm going to soak the corn husks. I'm just using a casserole dish here. I boiled some water and I'm going to let it soak. Suggested is about 10 minutes. I took about 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes. I like them when they get a little bit darker in color and they're just more saturated and easier to maneuver. I tend to kind of take my time a little bit. So you can see some of these are a little bit darker than the others because they were from a previous soak and they were getting a little bit dry, so I thought I'd re-soak them. I cut these ones to size. We're going to go back to those in a little bit. I'm just going through here kind of figuring out which ones are kind of a small, medium, large. I'm also looking for a nice one for the head. Taking two cotton balls, we're going to fold it up towards the center of the two sides and then fold the two pieces in towards and give it a bit of a twist as you fold it towards. This actually took me 3 tries. I look super awesome on camera. This was my 3rd try, my friend. So take your time because it does tend to rip. The corn husk doesn't really want to maneuver this way sometimes, but if it's saturated enough and wet enough, it's still warm to touch. It will work. It will bend to your will. And just give a little twist around with some twine. I'm just using some packing twine I found in the hardware section. I got 3 rolls for $1.50. I use it for everything. I think it's great. It gives it a good rustic look too. Okay, so we got our goddess's head. Let's just let that sit for a bit. I wanted to do the head first because I needed these to be as wet as possible, and some of them do tend to dry out a little bit faster than others. So I thought I would just hit the head first, and it's just easier and faster. Alright, next up we're just going to trim off the excess bits on top. We're going to get a little piece of twine ready. Gather their sections like a little accordion, like a little bow tie. Meet it in the dead center in the middle. Wrapping it around maybe 6 times. Doesn't need to be 5-6 times. Doesn't need to be anything exact. Tie a couple leftover right over left knots. Cut off the excess again. And there you have a nice little bow tie. Find out which end doesn't have rips on it. This one is the best one. let's have a look. So I'm just going to trim off this end here because that's going to be my inside of her bellies. And I'm just going to slowly. I'm not going to speed this up because I do want you to see it. You just want to really take your time and work it so it doesn't rip. It is quite moist, but you still do want to take your time. Again, when I did the goddess's head, it took me two other tries. It ripped immediately. So I had to like slow it down, take my time. I'm an Aries. I gotta learn that. I get excited. I just want to get in and do stuff. I'm just working it with my fingers here, and it's just blossoming out. Looks like a cool jellyfish right now. But we're just gonna work around. It looks like a nice little dress, actually. That might work for another type of doll. Keep that in mind. Pinching off here. Now, it is a little fun to glue something that is wet. So you just want to work it. What I did is I folded it in. Instead of having the 2 points come together, they would have like pushed out. So I folded it in, and I'm going to kind of work the edges together. Just touch it so you don't burn yourself. I'm just going to work the edges, because that's all you can do, because I was like casually burning myself here. And when I is again just slowly turning it in, it gives it a really nice kind of little fold sew line, and then it hides that little bit there. And that'll just be at the back of the goddess anyway, but it's nice to do it right the first time kind of thing. Why not? And my finger inside just helps moisten it out there, and it's still a little bit wet, and the glue is still a little bit hot, so it actually is quite easy to form. Alright, I'm just gonna let that cruise off to the side for a little bit. Let that dry and cool down. Now I've cut some strips out where they're about a 1/2 inch. And I'm gonna wrap the galvanized wire now. Just smoothing out so it makes it easier to wrap. Little happy face. A little bit of hot glue to tack on the edge. Now when you put it on the edge, it's good to put it on an angle, I found. If you put it straight on, it's not going to create an easier overlapping wrap as you cruise it all the way around the edges. So make sure you glue it on a touch of an angle. A little bit of hit and tip there. And you want to pull it and squeeze it as much as you can. Adding a little bit of glue almost every time you have a wrap as you go. Again, the husk itself is still moist. I'm not working with a dry. And the hot glue is still kind of malleable. It's pretty cool that way. Alright, now these are going to be the beginnings of her arms. Now the other pieces I had are perfectly cut. I'm very happy with them, but they managed to dry out on me pretty quick, so I wound up just cutting a piece here from another husk that was still quite wet, and then that made it. There we go. That was so much easier to wrap now. Oh yeah. That's a little faster, definitely. Okay, so mental note. Wait to cut the strips until you're ready. Okay. Yeah, and I'm going to cut another little piece off. Oh, I love it. It's like cutting fabric. It's kind of rewarding. You know when you get a good cut of fabric and you just get that and you don't have to like up and down the scissors and it just slices of fabric? That's like cutting corn husks, because you can get that right up the edge. It's pretty cool. All right, our arms are done. Now you want to find the center, put your two pinkies together, put your thumbs at the top, and bend. Trust me, one shot and you'll get it dead center. Overlap it like a little fish and have her two arms or two hands pointing at the top. Now I did make another goddess corn doll with the pointy parts underneath her neck, thinking that would look cool, but it sure didn't give the yonic effect of this goddess that I wanted to have. So it didn't work out quite as cool. So I went back to the original. So again, it kind of looks weird that I'm gluing it back together when I could have just used the bottom. So securing her arms underneath her neck, find out which is the best, the front or the back. Position the arms. Once you've got that in alignment, you're going to take one of the pieces up and glue that in place. Try not to burn yourself like I just did. Woo! All right, and once that is done, you can just set her off to cool down for a little bit by just holding that into place. Whew, there we go. All right, so now I'm going to trim off, I guess, her neck, her body. All right, now we are going to unravel some cotton balls, and I'm going to very, very gingerly stuff her little dress, because you don't want to tear it, because it's still, even when it's wet, it can still be torn. So just taking your time. I did trim out the bottom piece that was sticking up from the inside so I can get some more cotton balls inside and kind of have a lighter color. I did 2 other prototypes before making this video to test my idea, and I found one was a little skinny and tall. She was awesome. One was like super stout and had a great big belly. This had to go a little bit less. It's like I had 3 different body types. I love it. So wait till you see the end. I will show you all the goddesses I made. And then probably December you'll be able to get to see it on my tree. I'll be able to put all the little ladies up there. Eee, I'm so excited. But then when I made this video, my Yule Tree was not up yet, so I have nowhere to put the goddesses to show you at the end of the video. So I guess you'll have to wait for my Yule Tree unveiling in December, which I reckon it will probably be the 21st. Grabbing a little piece of twine here, holding her so, I'm gonna put her down, holding her so carefully. Actually, the little piece on the back had torn a little bit, and I had to use a bit of hot glue to do a bit of surgery for her. But she's okay now. She made it through. She is in full recovery. Alright, so just tighten around like just a little bodice. Aww. And then I'm just going to tighten the little string at the back. Nothing fancy. Trim off the excess edges once again. Aww, she's already adorable. Now we're gonna grab some copper wire, and I started the wire here. I just used my little loop pliers, and then I make one small loop with a firm press of my thumb. I just keep spinning it slowly and working it into a circle till I figure out how big I want the spiral to be which is her yonic, on this yonic. And you can decide whatever size that you want. Once you decide the placement, and if you've built up your spiral large enough, you can just put a little kink in it with your thumb. There we go, a little kink in the thumb, and it'll create a straight up and down line. Measure off almost to the point where we have the little hole in the very bottom of her little skirt. Using your wire cutters, you can just snip that off. Just measure with your heart. You don't need to take out a ruler or anything. Figure out where you're going to place and then just bend it around. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just, there we go, bend the end of it ever so slightly just to fit up in the little hole in her dress where her little feet would be. Now I don't want to use hot glue because hot glue, I don't want the hot glue showing. So I'm going to use some of that very clear craft glue. Hot glue would have turned kind of white and you're going to see it. So let's grab some of that crafty glue. You can get this at Michael's Craft Store, Dollar Trees. It's a really simple little brand and it's so sticky and it dries very fast and you don't see it when it's nice and clear, which is very nice to have. Oh, look at her already. Eee, she's so cute. That didn't take very long at all. So here's a little goddess of the day. Here's a friend of hers, another little prototype. So I did the hands the other way around. Wasn't quite feeling it. She seemed the arms a little stuck. This was the first one I made before I thought of the cotton ball. So she's a little more slender and taller. So I think I have 3 different body types here of some gorgeous women. I'm loving it. So I love how it worked out. So however they come out, they come out. Something for your altar, something for that lady in your life, something for the man in your life, the witches, and enjoy. Well, my friends, throw me down a little like, up, subscribe. Ring that bell so you know when the next Pagan Craft comes out. And I wish you, yourself, a magical day.